Hello, ladies and gentlemen from around the world, brothers and sisters. This is Rashad from the Movie Insurrectionist. We've been having some technical difficulties trying to work this out, but today is a teaching lesson about inappropriate behavior. As one of our distinguished elders, Dr. Claude Anderson, once said, there are too many of us that engage in inappropriate behavior in front of the dominant society, and Kevin Hart has become a case study as an example of exactly what he means. Recently, he engaged in a roast on Netflix, which in itself isn't an issue. Being a fan of comedy, I've seen high-profile roasts presented to the public from Tom Brady, Charlie Sheen, Bob Saget, Justin Bieber, Flavor Flav, Whoopi Goldberg, and of course, the legendary Richard Pryor. So comedy roast are no-holds-barred insult sessions about a public figure. I have no issue with that. But what made this roast different is that it wasn't targeted towards just an individual, Kevin Hart in this case, but an entire community and race of people by proxy. Of course, many others in the new black media have weighed in on this matter. But since my channel is dedicated to movie reviews and entertainment industry news, it is my turn to weigh in on this issue and why this roast was indeed a problem. On The Breakfast Club, Kevin Hart decided to defend the accusations that people made against him, individuals like myself and others. So he was given the opportunity to speak his piece. But when you're mentally obsessed with making money and gaining attention, and you have no integrity, this is exactly how it sounds. I can't play the full entire interview for copyright reasons, so I will play a little bit of it. Fair use.
Crazy. I'm not looking at Tony crazy. Like, that's what I know what you're going to do. I know your style of comedy.
Did you see the interview that I did with Terrence Floyd, George Floyd's brother?
No.
So he said
no shot to you.
No, okay. that's look.
I'm never watching it.
That's fine.
I just want to be clear. I'm never watching that. Like,
I only brought it up.
Even now that you told me, I'm not going to go back and go look at that interview.
Because he's a fan.
But I just want to make it clear so you understand what I do with my time. Like, I'm never doing that. Okay, go ahead.
I just asked because he's a fan of you. He saw the joke. And
now notice how Kevin Hart's demeanor is and how he handled that. The brother of George Floyd. Now, he attended the funeral. I can't play the entire interview, but he attended the funeral. And when he was asked a direct question, did you actually hear what George Floyd's brother had to say? Notice how dismissive and disrespectful Kevin Hart was towards that. I don't care about what he has to say. I'm not going to watch it. He went to the funeral to show that he had compassion for a black man who was murdered by law enforcement, a knee on his neck, on camera, killed in front of the entire world. But to us, he tells us that I'm never going to listen to what his brother had to say in regards to my roast and this joke that Tony Hinchcliffe, and I'm going to play a little later on for you, what he said that offended me and my family. I'll play it one more time. I can't play the whole thing, but just one more time. You can see his response. Fair use.
Style of comedy.
Did you see the interview that I did with Terrence Floyd, George Floyd's brother?
No.
So he said
no shot to you.
No, that's look.
I'm never watching it.
That's fine.
I just want to be clear. I'm never watching that.
I'm never watching it. I'm not watching the interview. I'm never watching it. I'm not going to watch the interview. So he's mocking the brother of George Floyd, the man whose funeral he went to. He's mocking the fact that I'm offended by what you said. I'm offended by your whole entire event. This is what Kevin Hart actually said, ladies and gentlemen. You saw it yourself. I'm not putting words into his mouth. I'm showing you exactly what he just said. I'm never going to watch it. Now, what if your mother or your father or your brother, your sister was murdered by the police? And after they were murdered, a high-profile celebrity that you met decided to have a roast where a comedian makes light of him being murdered. And this person who came and supposedly showed compassion and showed that they actually cared about what you had to go through, when they're asked the question, did you hear what this person had to actually say about this interview? Because he didn't like what was going on and how folks were making fun of the death of my brother, my son, my cousin, my best friend, whoever it is. And that celebrity stood up and said, well, I'm not going to watch what he has to say. I got better things to do with my time. Imagine if that's what you actually said. Imagine if that's what this person actually said. This is how Kevin Hart is approaching this whole entire thing, ladies and gentlemen. That's how he's approaching it. I want to move on to other parts of this video. I can't play the entire thing, but I want to show you just certain parts of it. There's a few things I want to show you. So there's another part going to about here it is about 2:30. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this. Fair use.
They talked about my dead mom and my dead dad. Said that they were running a train on my mom in
that
heaven.
was hilarious.
Right?
It was
that was crazy. Yeah, that was Regina killed.
I don't know how that's funny. I mean, if someone spoke about my dead mother or my dead father, if my parents were deceased, and you're sitting up and saying that people are running a train on my mom in heaven or in hell or whatever it is, and making fun of my dad when he was a crackhead. I mean, when is that funny? When is drug addiction a funny thing? There's some of you who are listening or will listen to this. Your families may have been affected by the crack epidemic during the 80s and 90s. And Kevin Hart, his father was affected by it. And he thinks that's a joke. That's funny. That's something that should be made light of. This is the kind of mind of this little short man that we're seeing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to play the rest.
That.
Right?
Yes,
Oh, wait,
great,
that's right. You probably should say killed that.
The jokes about Kevin was on a slave ship in a bottle with like the ship in the bottle. Like, I'm going to appreciate humor. I don't get affected by the attempt of humor. I get it, right?
I don't get affected by the attempt of humor. I don't get affected by the attempt of humor. Listen to what he just said. So when is slavery funny? So when did it become comedy to make light of our ancestors being packed up like sardines on a slave ship where we suffocate, die, defecate on each other? Those of us that didn't make the Middle Passage, thrown off of the slave ship into the ocean where you have sharks and other animals that will eat you dead or alive, because sometimes they threw some of us off the ships alive as well. And this was done not just for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, but 400 years. So when did that become a joke? When did that become a joke? When did that actually become a joke? Is Kevin Hart aware this is what actually happened to our people? So when did this actually become a joke? I want to know that, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me. So when did that actually become a joke? Slavery is now something to laugh at. Well, the dominant society, they may laugh at that, but those of us here in the new black media, we don't laugh at those things. And most of us in black society don't laugh at those things. But apparently Kevin Hart, he doesn't have any respect for himself, for our people, for his parents, or no one. He'll basically whore out his entire family and himself just so he can get some money and fame and clout. That's what this man is all about. I want to move on to this interview. There's one other thing I want to actually show. Then we're going to move on. Right here. This was a part of the interview that really got under my skin. And when I watched it, I had to look and I had to understand exactly where he was coming from when he said this. But what he said was pretty asinine. But I'm going to let you hear yourself in terms of his attitude when it came towards us. What he's about to say, ladies and gentlemen, is very, extremely disrespectful. Fair use.
Call you, man, so I can explain to you like the world of the roast, X, Y, and Z. We talk. I get it, Kev. We had a great conversation. But That's what I mean when I say, hey, man, let me call the one person after. And that's before whatever you're talking about. Mm-hmm. That's immediate. Mm-hmm. Stack, hey, Tony threw one out there. It's this and this, but you do know that that's what this shit is a roast. But I just want you to know from my side, that man is on his own.
You ain't lead with that, Kev. You should have been leading with that the whole time.
Because I don't need to.
People just want to know you care.
I don't fucking need to prove to people that I give a fuck.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Just this time. This one time.
No.
Yes, this one.
No. If you open that door.
Now, notice how indignant this little man actually was towards people. Because what people were offended by this? It wasn't white people, it wasn't Asian people, it wasn't Hispanic people. It was black people. FBA black people specifically, but black people in general were offended by what he said. So, according to Kevin Hart, he doesn't need to explain anything to us. And notice how indignant he is. I'll play it right back. Notice how indignant that he is when it comes to this issue. Fair use.
Stack, hey, Tony threw one out there. It's this and this, but you do know that that's what this shit is a roast. But I just want you to know from my side, that man is on his own.
You ain't lead with that, Kev. You should have been leading with that the whole time.
Because I don't need to.
People just want to know you care.
I don't fucking need to prove.
Now look at that.
The people that I give a fuck.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
There it is again. He's raising his voice. He's indignant. He's cursing. He's showing black folks all kind of disrespect. I don't have to tell you niggas nothing. The hell with what you talking about. If I disrespect you or if I sit up and I let white people get on a platform to disrespect any of you by proxy because they're disrespecting me, I don't have to explain myself. You guys should be tolerant with all this abuse like I'm tolerant of all this abuse. You guys should be just as comfortable with white folks making fun of slavery and white folks making fun of Jim Crow and white folks calling you short and white folks calling you monkeys and everything else I'm putting up with them. You should be just as comfortable with it as I am. That's what he's basically saying. Listen to him. And when he was challenged with the question, why didn't you explain this to the people, black people that is, you see exactly how he responded. This is how Kevin Hart sold out the black community and what he really thinks about all of us. But when it came to other communities in the dominant society, I know this is June, this is the LGBTQ community, and he has quite a special relationship with them that happened to almost derail his career some time ago. But instead, when they called him out on some jokes that he made that offended their community, Kevin Hart handled it very, very differently. Let me show you exactly what he said when they were not pleased about jokes he made about their community, and they weren't pleased about his level of accountability for it. Fair use.
So I just got a call from the Academy, and that call basically said, Kevin, apologize for your tweets of old, or we're going to have to move on and find another host. Talking about the tweets from 2009, 2010. I chose to pass. I passed on the apology. The reason why I passed is because I've addressed this several times. This is not the first time this has come up. I've addressed it. I've spoken on it. I've said where the rights and wrongs were. I've said who I am now versus who I was then. I've done it. I've done it. I'm not going to continue to go back and tap into the days of old when I moved on and I'm in a completely different space in my life. The same energy that went into finding those old tweets could be the same energy put into finding the response to the questions that have been asked years after years after years.
And look at this right here. If you read in the screen, it says, I sincerely apologize to the LGBTQ community for insensitive words from my past. Now, he has no problem apologizing to them. He has no problem sitting up and telling them that I said some things that were a bit insensitive and I took it too far. I apologize for it. But for them, that still wasn't good enough. They wanted him to apologize again and again. And when they kept on harassing him about an apology, they didn't get the Kevin Hart you saw on the Breakfast Club, raising his voice, cursing, screaming, yelling, being indignant. He was very calm. very respectful. Because, once again, when you don't have any respect for yourself and you don't have respect for the community that produced you, this is what you sound like. This is how you come out. And Kevin Hart has shown time and time again that his priority is his fame, his priority is his money, his priority is his notoriety. The hell with all you niggas. That's how he talks. This is who he is. Now, the LGBTQ community can get a full-scale apology, but black society, y'all can all kick rocks. That's how Kevin Hart actually talks. So if you're new to this channel, please go ahead and press the subscribe button, like the stream, share it with your friends, press the notification bell in the chat, and answer this question for me for those of you who might be listening. Should black folks cancel Kevin Hart for this roast? Please place your response in the chat room, and let's go ahead and get back to this. So there aren't any mistakes. Here are some of the jokes that were made at Kevin Hart's roast and why it upset so many people. This gentleman right here was Kevin Hart's, this comedian right here, I can't remember his name, but he was Kevin Hart's MC. He was hosting the event. And he made a couple of inappropriate jokes, in my opinion, but the one that stood out to me the most was this joke right here, where he was making light of us being lynched during the height of Jim Crow. Listen to this, fair use.
Kevin didn't just do comedy in Saudi Arabia. They actually gave him a sword and a shield, and they made him fight a scorpion. And then at night, they'd put one of those little falcon helmets on him so he could go to sleep. Kevin's so short that they're gonna have to lynch him from a bonsai tree.
And that's supposed to be hilarious. Kevin's so short, they're gonna have to lynch him from a bonsai tree. So when did lynching black folks and hanging us from trees become funny? When did that become funny? But apparently Kevin Hart thinks that this sort of humor is cute. He appreciates this sort of humor, the attempt of it. He appreciates it. So he appreciates this white man getting up in front of the entire world and saying that it would be funny if someone were to lynch him from a tree. Even if it's a bonsai tree, somebody would lynch him from a tree. When did lynching black folks become humor and funny? Well, I don't find this funny. And those of us who have dignity for ourselves, unlike Kevin Hart does, we don't find this funny. Now, the most egregious joke, of course, the one that everyone's talking about, comes from comedian Tony Hinchcliffe. I believe his name is. And he made a joke that wasn't funny at all about our deceased brother, George Floyd. And here's what he actually said. And you notice in the screen right here, Kevin Hart is laughing his behind off at this racist humor. But I'm going to go ahead and play it for you anyway. Fair use.
Done good, though, Kevin. The black community is so proud of you. Right now, George Floyd is looking up at us all, laughing so hard that he can't breathe.
So Tony Hinchcliffe said that George Floyd is laughing at us so hard that he's looking up at us that he can't breathe. So he's saying that George Floyd is in hell, which he doesn't know that for sure, if hell or heaven actually exist. And the second thing is he's mocking the fact that he was choked to death. So not only at this event, they're mocking slavery, which is what Kevin Hart said. They're mocking us being lynched from trees, but they're also mocking those of us who have been murdered by the police and by law enforcement. To them, that sort of stuff is humorous to them. That is funny. Well, let me explain something to you and to those of you who are actually watching and those in the dominant society. None of this is humor. And Tony Hinchcliffe, he has a reputation of saying a bunch of racist things. Here he is at Donnie Trump's and J.D. Vance's campaign rally back in 2024, where he made a joke about Hispanic people and as well as Puerto Rico. But this is who Kevin Hart, or at least his people, invited to make a roast about him, this right-wing, conservative, so-called comedian who spews nothing but hateful rhetoric as jokes. Listen to this, fair use.
Where are my proud Latinos at tonight? You guys see what I mean? It's wide open. There's so many of them. It's absolutely incredible. Believe it or not, people, I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this. It's wild. And these Latinos, they love making babies too. Just know that. They do. They do. There's no pulling out. They don't do that. They come inside, just like they did to our country. There's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
Wow, hilarious. He's just knee slapping. This guy should be up there with Lenny Bruce and George Carlin. He's so clever. He's so funny. One thing that I know about suspected white supremacists who talk like this, if they start off talking about the LGBTQ community, then later on they start talking about the Jewish community, then the Latino community, an Asian community, it's going to be a matter of time before they start talking about us. Like Martin Lawrence's character in the movie Boomerang once said, and with the game of pool, that the game is over when you completely and totally drive the black ball off the table. And that's completely what Tony Hinchcliffe did. So my question to Kevin is that how would you not know that this vile suspected white supremacist who's made a living out of telling all these racist jokes wouldn't go onto your program and say the most heinous things about you and about us? You find that humorous? Why would you invite this person onto your program? Why would you? Tell me why. Because see, Tony Hinchcliffe can make jokes about us. They can make jokes about slavery, jokes about black folks being hung from trees, the Middle Passage, and drugs and everything else. But let me show you what Jim Crow actually looked like. This is what lynching actually looked like. The host of this roast made a joke about lynching Kevin Hart. But this is what our grandfathers went through during the 20th century when this picture was taken. How is this a joke? And Kevin, you say you're not offended by this? Were those black men's family offended by what happened to them? Maybe you're perfectly fine with someone pissing on our ancestors' grave who got us to the point of where we are, so your sorry ass can get on stage and make a living entertaining people. However, for the rest of us in black society, lynching black people ain't cute or funny in no sense of the word. This is not funny. This is not a joke. This is treasonous for you, Kevin. And to allow a bunch of white men to disrespect our ancestors that endured the horrors of slavery and Jim Crow, which is what was taken in this picture. And if you don't have the desire, dedication, or discernment not to allow suspected white supremacists like Tony Hinchcliffe to go up there, then we will cancel you and cancel them, just like we canceled your other Philly brother, Bill Cosby. Because like Brandon Lee said in The Crow, Kevin, it's a bad day to be a bad guy. And in 2026, I'm saying it's a bad day to be a coon. And speaking of coons and Jim Crow, let me show you where Jim Crow actually came from. This is what triggered this picture you saw right here. This right here. Jim Crow actually started off as a joke. Created by Thomas Dorfman Price. Jim Crow, just like the minstrel character, Zip Coon, was used to mock the oppression of black people during slavery. Of course, both of these characters evolved into something more diabolical. It became the blueprint for this and this and this. This is a segregated theater. The people up top on the upper balcony, those are all black people. Everyone down here are all white. And this, of course, what I showed you before. We got tired of it. It led to this right here. None of this is a joke. This is not funny. I want to thank everyone that listened to this live stream and everyone that will be listening to this later. Kevin, brother, I don't know why it is that you are so comfortable with allowing these members of the dominant society to disrespect you like this, but the rest of us are not comfortable with it. Now, for some reason, you've given them the green light to sit up and to talk badly about all of us in black society. We don't want our pain laughed at. Slavery was no joke. Jim Crow was no joke. And like I said before, Kevin, if you can't stand with us, we're not going to stand with you. You're making the same mistake that individuals like Bill Cosby made in the past, and it's ironic that both of you guys come from the same neighborhood in Philly. You're from the same region of the country. But see, Bill Cosby was doing the same thing that you're doing right now, Kevin. Bill was out there and he got his come up off of black society. He built his audience off of us. This was back in the 60s and the 70s. And then when he got to the top in the 1980s and when the Cosby Show went out the air, he had no problem telling us how little he thought of us. Because to Bill Cosby, racism wasn't a problem. Black people were the problem. And if you guys just all pull up your pants and learn how to speak well and take care of your women, then all these issues you're talking about wouldn't even exist. That's how Bill was talking. And you speak pretty much the same way. And that lack of respect and compassion that he had, that he should have had for the community that produced him, ended up being a detriment to him. Because when he started getting accused of things, in my humble opinion, I don't think that he did. There's no proof that he did any of these things. It's all hearsay. Most of us in our community didn't even care. Because Bill Cosby spent a great part of his post-Cosby Show years throwing black society under the bus when he should have been speaking up for black society. And Kevin, you are doing the same exact thing. I respect the fact that you've been able to get to where you are through your hard work and your grit. No one can take that from you. I do think that in itself is a talent, and I respect that. But I don't respect you using our community and the community that you came from and the people that you come from as cannon fire for entertainment. Slavery and Jim Crow was and will never be a joke. So I want to thank everyone that listened to this live stream again, and everyone that will listen to this live stream later. Please press that subscribe button, like the video, share it with your friends, and press the notification bell for future updates. This is your host, Rashad, from the Movie Insurrectionist. And remember, The theatrical release will never be televised. Later.